Today I would like to have a Q&A. I want to know what is something that you'd like to know about supporting your fertility naturally. So if you have questions about herb supplements and natural therapies, hi, that's what I'm here for today. Please type your question and then hold it or tap it, double tap to copy and paste it so that if I miss it, you can paste it again really easily. I'll start just talking and then answer questions as they come. So probably one of the number one things we get asked about on a daily basis, we being the team that I work with, is about herbs causing menstrual cycle shifts, particularly Vitex. Vitex and Maca, but mostly Vitex. Vitex or Vitex agnus castus, it's also known as chasteberry. Hi Nasdar, welcome. Is a female fertility herb. It's particular to female hormonal balance. It nourishes the endocrine system. And some women experience cycle shifts when they first begin using it. And that's pretty concerning a lot of the time, even if cycles are seemingly regular, but not. And I want you to know that if you're going to begin an herb that supports the systems of the body that are instrumental in hormonal balance and you see a shift, that's a sign that the body's responding, the body's listening, the body's using what the herb has to offer. And try not to be scared. Someone's talking about Bowen therapy. I don't know about Bowen therapy. That's a new one to me. I have no idea about it. So keep doing your research and I'll have to maybe make a note to look into it. But back to herbs and them causing cycle shifts. It's the body telling you that it's listening and it's using the herb. Try not to be worried. Most cycle shifts are temporary, I promise. Within 1 to 3 cycles of starting an herb, the cycle should begin to balance itself out and show you some sort of normalcy, some sort of balance. This will be different for everyone. Please know that it may take just a little bit longer, but the other thing to note is that sometimes what you don't realize is that your cycle needs to shift to be healthy. What you thought your cycle was before, as healthy, may not have been your healthy, may not have been the perfect balance that balanced. Your hormones may have been perfectly balanced like you thought they were because your cycle was fairly normal or regular. Does that make sense? So sometimes shifts are a good thing because it's your body realizing it needs to have a different balance than it did before. Someone asked about Ubiquinone and Ubiquinol. They are 2 different forms of that nutrient, CoQ10. Ubiquinol is more readily, how do I explain this in an easy way? We have learned that Ubiquinol is Ubiquinone when you take it, so CoQ10, Ubiquinone when you take it, needs to be converted to Ubiquinol by the body. So while that's fine, we feel like taking CoQ10 Ubiquinol is just easier because your body doesn't have to convert it. It can just go right to using it, essentially. Are headaches normal when I have periods? For some women, they are, sadly. Hormonal headaches don't have to be your normal, though. There are things you can consider learning about. Vitex would be one of them, actually. So go ahead and take a look at that. How to boost ovulation? Great question. There are very easy things to do to support healthy ovulation. Ensuring that you have adequate circulation to the reproductive organs, particularly the ovaries, is really important. So that if you live a sedentary life, you need to get moving. That involves exercise or trying to get up off of your chair if you sit at a desk for work periodically throughout the day. Things like self-fertility massage or any sort of fertility massage, abdominal massage, would help with circulation. Castor oil packs, perhaps. Consider learning about Vitex and Tribulus and L-arginine. Those are all things that are supportive of hormonal balance, healthy ovarian function, and proper circulation, essentially. So those are all ways to support healthy ovulation. Diet is important too, just because, why not, really? So focus on diet as well. You're welcome. Great questions. What else, ladies and gentlemen, if there are any here? I've been on the keto diet for 4 months and it has completely regulated my cycles. I have PCOS. That's fantastic. I've been doing some research by Sally Fallon on raw milk for fertility. What is your opinion? I'm scared to share my opinion, to be honest. There are staunch advocates against consuming raw milk and others who are completely fine with it and think that there are incredible health benefits of consuming raw milk. This is my opinion. I am not an expert in raw milk, and I do not drink it because I don't consume dairy. But I feel like if you have a reputable source of organic grass-fed milk that's raw, that it would be fine to consume if you consume dairy and you don't have an inflammatory fertility health condition like PCOS or endometriosis or anything like that. We suggest limiting dairy when you have PCOS, endometriosis, uterine fibroids, or any sort of chronic systemic inflammation. There's been some research proving that that can be beneficial, and there are other things to eliminate too, but because we're on the dairy topic, we'll stay there. You will read that many people say raw dairy can be very harmful. And I don't think that for the healthy person who knows the source of the dairy and it's organic and grass-fed, that isn't necessarily true. But we do not suggest consuming it in pregnancy, which many people don't. So do your research. Keep doing your research, find reputable resources for information, and make that so that you can make an educated choice for yourself. Yeah, that's all about raw dairy. All right. When do we see Heather here? You may not. I don't know. I don't know her plans for coming back to Periscope. I'm sorry. I don't have dairy for fertility. How do you keep my calcium level up? Consider looking for other foods that contain calcium. Oftentimes dark green leafy vegetables are rich in calcium. Sesame seeds. Sesame seeds are a fantastic source of calcium. But just Google vegetarian or non-meat, non-dairy sources of calcium and you'll get lots of lists. There's lists out there. So go ahead and take a look at those online. I could talk just briefly about why don't I eat dairy. Dairy doesn't like me and I love it, but it doesn't like me. It makes me feel super phlegmy and congested and I break out along my lymph glands here on my neck. So that's why. Yeah. I would love to put half and half in my coffee or have homemade whipped cream with real heavy whipped cream, but I always feel just really and thick afterwards. TMI, sorry. How do you help with implantation? And tubal reversal, then miscarriage. Doctors pushing for IVF because of the tubes. So how do you help with implantation? There are several things to do. Ensuring that your uterus has healthy, adequate circulation is really important. Massage, castor oil packs. Making sure the uterus is calm. There are herbs that support healthy uterine muscle function. Red raspberry leaf would be one to learn about. The herbs in our product, Utericalm, would be worth learning about. There's some foods to consider. Pineapple core, the actual core of the pineapple fruit, is said to be supportive of healthy implantation. Beet juice, all sorts of things. If you want to head over to naturalfertilityinfo.com, there's some information about supporting implantation there. It's really great. And all of those things I just mentioned are there too. You can learn more about them. And then to the gal who mentioned that you had a tubal reversal and then a miscarriage, I'm very sorry. You are going to want to, if you have not already, evaluate the health of your tubes after the reversal. Because the tubal ligation process purpose is to damage the tube so an egg can't get through. There are many tubal ligations. They can be cauterized, which means burned and completely broken. They can be banded with a rubber band sort of thing. They can be clipped with a little clip. There may be something else that I'm not thinking of, but the point of having a tubal ligation is to damage the tube so that an egg can't travel through to meet the sperm, and sperm can't travel to meet the egg, right? There's a block. And while many ligations can be reversed, there is still some little bit of damage there, and the body's innate natural process is to try to heal the damage. And sometimes when that happens, there's a bit of fibrin or scar tissue formation. you had an HSG and they're open and then you miscarried. Well, maybe the miscarriage isn't at all related to your tubal function or the tubal ligation then. Sometimes you just never know. I know it's so hard, but there are many, many, many times when women never know the cause of the miscarriage. Irregardless, you could prepare for IVF naturally and maybe not ever go through it, but there's ways to support egg health, sperm health, uterine health. Those are all very important for pregnancy, for conception and pregnancy. If you wanted, I don't know if you're able to learn the cause of the miscarriage. Yeah, it wasn't found. They don't know where the baby, okay. So then there was perhaps an issue, with when the sperm and egg connected. Could be related to diet, could be related to age, could be related to, oh goodness knows what, I don't know. Yeah. So I guess you're just going to have to talk with your partner about whether or not IVF is something you want to consider or not. If you want to reach out to our team, we have a guide about how to move forward after miscarriage. That's fantastic. Lots of great tips in there. There was a chance it was tubal, and that makes me wonder that maybe if there isn't an issue, there's something little in there that caused the egg and the sperm to get stuck. I don't know. I'm sorry. Yeah. What about Schizandra? Is that what you meant? The herb Schizandra? I love Schizandra. It's an amazing herb. Certainly fertility supportive for helping the body have a healthy stress response. It's amazing. We have an entire guide on that on our informational website, naturalfertilityinfo.com as well, that you should go read. Definitely worth learning about. Are there any therapies for the tubes? Absolutely there are. There are lots of natural therapies for supporting fallopian tube health, yes. Supplements as well. I'll just run through things, excuse me, that you can consider learning about. Systemic enzyme therapy, massage therapy, castor oil therapy. There are manual physical therapies that you go to a specific clinic or practitioner to have done. The WURN technique, W-U-R-N technique, or clear passages physical therapy. Those would all be things to learn about. Yeah. I've been on Vitex for 6 months. How long do you recommend to stay on it? 6 months is great. We often recommend 10 months to a year, while paying attention to what your body is showing you and telling you and what your cycle is like. And then consider weaning off to see how the body maintains balance on its own. But it is something that you can stay on long term. I don't know of any disadvantages of staying on it long term, but that said, like I just mentioned, we do suggest weaning off around 10 to 12 months of use to see how the body maintains balance on its own. Yeah, hopefully all the things that you've been doing on your program, in addition to Vitex, are helping your body remember how to keep hormones balanced, and it will do it on its own when you wean off of Vitex. Weaning is pretty easily done over a week's time. Does pineapple core really help with implantation? There are theories that it does. I can't say yes or no. I haven't studied it. I haven't worked with it personally or clinically, but we have an entire article about it with resources, references. But pineapple core contains bromelain, a substance called bromelain, B-R-O-M-E-L-I-A-N or A-I-N? A-I-N, I think. That is known to be anti-inflammatory, and I think that's in part its benefit. There may be others, of course, but having a very calm uterus and uterine lining, healthy uterine lining, is really important for implantation. So all the things that keep the uterus calm. It is amazing how much our bodies want to heal. That's their number one purpose. That's what's happening within us all the time. When is the right time to start the fertility cleanse if you don't have a period? You can choose a time, anytime. If you're not on medication, which would be prescription medication, you can just pick a date on the calendar, and the Fertility Cleanse Kit comes with a fantastic booklet that will guide you through each step, phase 1 and phase 2 of the cleanse. Just mark the days on the calendar and follow along. It's fine. Acupuncture is outstanding. If you haven't tried acupuncture and you're interested, please go interview and talk with acupuncturists to see how they can benefit you, and to learn more about it. I haven't personally used acupuncture for fertility, but I have a very dear friend who did, and made great strides in her fertility journey because of acupuncture. But I've had acupuncture for a variety of other things, and I feel it's outstanding. Pressopuncture? I don't know what that is. That's a new one to me. Sorry, I don't know. What age does fertility drop off? It's pretty well known that at the age of 35 is when the transition starts to happen. When the female body starts to produce less of the hormones necessary for, or the hormones that we had prior to the age of 35, I guess. Now, I say that, but please don't run and get worried, because every woman is different. It doesn't mean that you're immediately infertile at the age of 35. That is not true. It's just that is what science tells us. That is when science tells us our fertility begins to start to change. Yeah. Sperm quality. What about sperm quality? Natural therapies for sperm quality. I took Ubiquinol for 6 months. I now stopped using it. Will I still have enough CoQ10 in my body? Perhaps. But I wouldn't know you wouldn't know unless you had a test to know. But, yeah, I'm not sure. I can't say yes or no for certain. But you should have enough for a while. That said, as we age, our body's ability to produce CoQ10 becomes less and less and less, so you may want to consider it longer. I don't know. It'd be something to talk to a nutritionist or pharmacist or doctor about, your healthcare provider about, especially. Apart from the fertility cleanse, what can you do to have your periods back? It would depend, and it's going to be different for each woman. Things to think about are, why is your period absent? Do you know? If you don't, try to figure it out. Get help in figuring that out. How long has it been absent? Is it absence related to stress or diet or weight loss or gain, or being severely underweight, over-exercising, all sorts of things like that? Or is it period absence because of trauma or hormonal imbalance or age or things like that? There are different approaches for the reason why it's missing. Cleansing is a definite positive first step. And then beyond that, there are a variety of things to consider, particularly herbs, diets, and natural therapies like we talk about. Many of the things I've mentioned today. We have a product called RejuvaFlow that you could learn more about. It's not for everyone, but our informational guides will share who it is for, or our team can help you with that. Yeah, it just depends. Acupressure is good too. Yeah, definitely. I don't know a lot of acupressure points to teach you anything, but we have a guide on our website, our informational website, and then we also know that there are acupressure people who do acupressure out there, and therapists. Regarding absent periods, I'll keep going with that until I see the other questions. Making sure that you're exercising is really important. Fertility yoga is fantastic. If you haven't looked into a fertility yoga program, I would consider that. Yes, thank you. Someone said something about anxiety after ovulation. That was it. I personally experience heightened anxiety after ovulation. And I've heard from, since admitting this in other areas of what I do, that others feel the same thing. And I have read a little bit about anxiety after ovulation being related to the shift in the shift between estrogen and progesterone production. That shift in the hormone production after ovulation to get us prepared for either implantation or having another period could be cause for why anxiety is heightened at that point. I started taking ashwagandha. It's an herb called ashwagandha, and we sell it at naturalfertilityshop.com, the Fertilica ashwagandha, and it's outstanding. I feel like I've made great strides in my anxiety. I take it all cycle long. But you would need to just learn about it and see if it resonates with you or would be something to consider. But definitely having on hand some tools to help you through that anxiety whether it be herbs or natural therapies, meditation, breath work, a walk outside, whatever it is, just find some tools. Ashwagandha is safe to take while trying to conceive. Calming teas could be helpful too, like a chamomile tea or some sort of passion flower or emotional supporting tea. There are many out there. We'll definitely go learn about ashwagandha before you just immediately take it, because you and I are different, and it might not be exactly what you need, but if it is, it's worth learning more about or considering. Yeah, just have on hand some tools. No, you're not alone at all. And it didn't start happening for me, anxiety after ovulation, until I got into my later 30s. It was really something surprising, and I thought, at the time that it started, I was like, I don't have anything to be anxious about. It's really strange. But I do have some anxiety after having my children. So I kind of I thought it felt normal now, but I've read that it's related to hormone. Yeah, exactly. I'm right there with you in age. So actually 39, but yeah, look into some things. Does keeping the feet warm after ovulation help with implantation? I don't know. You certainly could keep your feet warm. Absolutely. I don't know that that's proven, but there's no harm in keeping your feet warm, so go ahead if you want to. I giggle only because I don't know. I'm not sure anyone's ever studied that. Excuse me. As my periods have regulated out, I sweat a ton during my luteal phase. I have a feeling that's also related to the heightened progesterone production, but it would be something to learn more about. Perhaps, yes, elevated progesterone, perhaps. It makes me wonder if it isn't related. Yeah. And moreover, the decrease in estrogen production and the rise in progesterone production, that shift happening. Herbs that should not be taken with Vitex. I don't know of any, actually. What we don't want is that for you to combine Vitex with prescription medication without your doctor's approval, particularly prescription hormonal medications like birth control or anything else. So, my luteal phase went from 10 to 11 to 12 to 13 days, but I'm more sensitive than before. Why? Sensitive emotionally or sensitive physically somewhere? Can you just clarify that little bit for me? I feel like the luteal phase physically, definitely. So what's happening what's happening in your luteal phase is that you ovulate, which can be painful. A tiny little cell bursts out of your ovary. There's actually a piece of tissue that breaks open. And then aside from that, your hormones are fluctuating so that you have heightened libido, because this is the time you want to make a baby. That's your body telling you, make a baby. And that tends to be a more sensitive time. Blood is filling your reproductive organs, trying to get the uterus ready for either implantation or another period. And all of that happening and all of the hormone fluctuations, including the increased progesterone, it can make you feel more sensitive. Now, if it's bothersome or you're hurting or it's been so long and you just don't think that any of what I said is right, it'd be time to check in with your doctor just to make sure there's not an underlying cause, because fertility health issues can make you hurt and feel more sensitive. Endometriosis in particular. Uterine fibroids can be painful for some women. Some don't know they have them. Others they're very painful for. PMS or that time in which you're nearing menstruation, if you don't get pregnant, is a time when most of us feel emotional and physical heightened sensitivity. So there can be underlying causes. If you're worried, I would just check in with your doctor to see if there's something else going on. Can ashwagandha be taken during IVF? As I was very anxious with the first one and it failed. The anxiety is real during a medical fertility procedure, particularly IVF. I understand that. You're going to want to talk to your doctor. I cannot suggest taking herbs during IVF and with IVF medications legally. I'm not able to. So I have to say no, but you will want to check with your doctor, because your doctor may disagree and be willing to monitor your use of something, but he has to be the one to tell you yes. For those of you who are here, if more questions ever come up, please do contact us through our websites. We have a little team. There are just 6 of us, but we are strong, and we are happy to try to help answer questions that we get or guide you to information that will be helpful. So reach out to us. What can be done to increase sperm motility and help with shape? So that's morphology and motility. Oh, great. Thank you. I will keep doing periscopes as part of my job. There are many things to support sperm health and sperm quality, and that includes morphology, motility, and so shape, their ability to swim, and diet is the #1 approach. But there are supplements too. Many supplements women take, like CoQ10 Ubiquinol, L-carnitine, maca, tribulus. These are all things to consider learning more about. What else for sperm? There are certain foods that can be helpful. Did I say CoQ10 Ubiquinol? I meant to. Royal jelly, perhaps even, can benefit sperm health. So look into all of those things. Yeah. I missed the first part of your comment. So you had all your hormones checked and everything looked great, but something isn't quite right. Was it luteal phase related? Please type the first part again. So you had all your hormones checked, but did you have your thyroid checked? Thyroid hormones, were they checked? And tell me again about your luteal phase. Is it short or long, or did it shift? Okay, so thyroid was fine. That's good. That's okay. I understood. You're looking at a chronic cell phone typer? Is that what you say? They're getting longer. How long? 12-day luteal, a 12-day luteal phase is considered average, normal, healthy. So how long is long? From 10 to 13. That's fine. It really is fine. That would be considered average, normal. Yeah, within that, range. If they stay at 10 on the shorter side, it's time to look at ways to support a healthy luteal phase. And for some women, it's as easy as making sure you get enough vitamin B6 and B vitamins. It's that simple. So another herb to learn about would be Vitex. We've talked about that a few times in this talk. But yeah, it can be as easy as a shift in nutrition and B vitamin. If you're interested in learning more about the luteal phase specifically, even if you do not have luteal phase defect, we have an article with luteal phase defect in the title that you want to go look at. Good, you're taking Vitex. And if you've just begun taking it and the luteal phase has shifted, that's fairly normal. That is what I opened the talk about. Maybe you weren't here for that. Oftentimes, women are concerned about shifts in their cycle because of, or when they start taking Vitex. It's very common. Shifts usually work themselves out. Most often, they do work themselves out. And it's the body telling you it's using what you're taking and listening and trying. So hang with it. Vitex is one of an herb that nourishes the endocrine system that takes time to be effective. Well, if you don't want to get pregnant, use protection, or don't have intercourse without protection or at all during your fertile window, which is a 5-day window every cycle that a woman can get pregnant in. Maybe I didn't finish my thought, did I? About Vitex. Is it too late for intercourse the day you get a negative OPK the day after a positive OPK? Yeah, usually. I mean, you certainly could have intercourse one more time on that day just to ensure, but typically the LH surge is done and ovulation is beyond when it's negative. And then again, a little bit of the end of the little Vitex spiel. Vitex is known to take time to be effective. While we have a lot of women experience results fairly quickly within like 3 months of its use consistently, typically to support hormonal balance at the level that it can, it needs to be taken much longer, 6 months, up to that 10 to 12 month range that I talked about earlier. All right, I think I'm going to be done for today because we're starting to get some interesting comments and some people joining who aren't here for the educational piece of my talk, rather just to be here. So if you have questions, as I mentioned earlier, please reach out to us on our websites, naturalfertilityshop.com and naturalfertilityinfo.com. we'll do our best to help answer the questions or get you information that will help you educate yourself as you're trying to make choices or figure out what's going on, or working with your doctor or your fertility team. So thanks for joining me today. I really appreciate all the interaction. It was really fun, and we'll be back again next week. Take care. Bye, everyone.